Hey world, what up? Mr. Russell Westbrook and the Washington Wizards. I've had somewhat of a flimsy start to the regular season for the 2021 NBA season. They are stating at a 1-5 record as of right now, and the first game that they actually did win was their sixth game, and Russell Westbrook did not even play. Bradley Beal and the team balled out against the Minnesota Timberwolves and took them down. But let's just kind of backtrack. Russell Westbrook and the Wizards were 0-5 starting the season, and that pretty much puts us in a weird position right now to see, is Russell Westbrook a problem when it comes to these teams? Is it just a bad start, or what's going to happen when it comes down to it? I've stated that I expect the Washington Wizards to finish with the seventh seed in the Eastern Conference. Now, making that prediction, the only reason why I put them in is because of a brand name of a Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal together. I could expect them, and I did expect them to finish around a seventh through a ninth seed in the Eastern Conference, but I gave them the nod over the Atlanta Hawks and the Indiana Pacers because Russ and Bradley Beal were on that team. Now, what I'm trying to say is I can expect and I could see the Washington Wizards not make the playoffs, but I'm not going to go that far as of right now. I'm keeping where I'm having them. The Washington Wizards, as of right now, I still expect them to make the seventh seed in the Eastern Conference. I do not like the makeup of the team when you added Russell Westbrook with Bradley Beal because those are two veteran type players who are around 28 to 31 years of age. And you mix them with a bunch of young cats and young rookies out there. And that's a very weird chemistry wise direction. That's weird when it comes down to just the age difference. Russell Westbrook has to look himself in the mirror, and they have to figure things out pretty quick over there in Washington, D.C., in the nation's capital. So let's jump a little more here on Undisputed with Uncle Shay and Drip Bayless, and we'll cover a little more with the new Washington Wizards.
This is what Russ is. This is what you're going to get from Russ. If he's a phenomenal talent, he plays hard. He's never going to cheat you. You're never going to go to a game and say, man, that guy dogged it. Pay my money for that, and that guy, he didn't give me his all. He's going to give you everything. Skip, it just goes to show, and he wanted to go somewhere where he could showcase this. But it just goes to show you triple-doubles doesn't necessarily equate to wins. He might have an average of triple-double this year, but they're going to finish 12th, 13th in the Eastern Conference. That's what it's going to be. And it's sad, but this is what it is, Skip. That's why I didn't think getting Russ was going to change their fortune. They're not.
No, and let me not interrupt him too quick, but let me give my little intro. Whenever I made my reaction video to whenever I saw John Wall and Russell Westbrook were pretty much swap for each other within that trade, it made zero sense for both franchises. And I stated, for the Houston Rockets, you're either trying to blow it up or you're trying to find valuable pieces to keep James Harden. Most likely, you should have just blown it up. Boogie Cousins and John Wall, they're fine pieces on your team, but that's not anything to keep James Harden over there in H-Town. Now, when it comes over to the Washington Wizards, if you're letting go of John Wall on his big contract, you pretty much have to be in a position to where you pair Bradley Beal with a true star player who is young and you have a bright future with, or you just blow it up completely and then you trade Bradley Beal. Neither of those teams did the rebuild stage. They didn't go vertical, they didn't go down. You know what they went? They went horizontal and they went nowhere with it. I knew the Washington Wizards with Russell Westbrook. He'll be on that team and franchise for at least half a season to a full season, and he'll be out of there pretty quick. Russell Westbrook, I don't expect him to be back with the Wizards next season. And this is the stage of the career of Russell Westbrook to where his athleticism will start to go down a bit and he can't shoot. He can't make it up for his quote unquote skills. So he's going to get bounced around in the league a couple more teams. He'll probably get bounced around 2 to 3 to 4 more teams and then end it off in OKC for one last season. This is not a good look for Russell Westbrook as of right now. And if Russ was going to be able to go to the Eastern Conference, rack up triple doubles, and be that star number one guy with the high ball usage, I would have preferred, and I did prefer for him to get traded to the New York Knicks. The thing is, if you put him on the Washington Wizards, you're gonna have high expectations for them to make the playoffs, let alone give a good show. But if you put him on the New York Knicks, they don't have to make the playoffs. He can still give you triple doubles. He can still be a Showtime type guy. That could be where it's at. And if you were on the Knicks, If he would have made the playoffs, that would have been a huge accomplishment, even if it was just an 8 seed. So this is not a good look to where Russell Westbrook is right now. It's still early in the season. It's only been around 5 games. But right now, that's not a good look because everyone is healthy.
Going to the playoffs, Skip, they're not a playoff team. Russ is going to average a triple-double. He's going to put, people like, oh, my goodness, oh, my goodness. But it doesn't equate to win. And I thought that's what it was about. He wanted to play for a championship.
Mm-hmm.
I get.
Well, yeah, you're not going to play for a championship if you're on the Washington Wizards. A lot of people don't have them making the playoffs, and the people who do, they expect them to be out in the first round in easy fashion. So, if Russ were a free agent, he would join a championship contender. If Russ was traded to a championship contender, that's a different story. Because Russ would have been a second option on a contender like the Clippers. He would have been a second option on another contender, such as like the Milwaukee Bucks. But no, he's around a 1A, 1B type on a low Eastern Conference team with a bunch of young guys. Not a good flow, not a good fit, never was. But it is what it is,
He didn't want to be with James anymore because he thought James' behavior off the court, not being late and yada, 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 wasn't conducive. But if he thinks going and getting triple doubles and guys showing up on time, he's not any closer to winning a championship in Washington than he was in Houston, than he was in OKC once KD left. So this is what he's going to be relegated to, Skip. He's probably going to end his career. Who knows? He might break Oscar's record of 181 triple doubles. Hell, he might end up with 200.
He might.
But he's never going to be close to winning a championship again.
Well, yeah, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, I don't know why everyone expects everyone has to win a championship if you're a quote-unquote star player in the league. Russ is not going to win a championship within his career, especially as a number one guy. Heck no. As a number two guy, I doubt it. As a number three guy, he could. But I don't even expect Russell Westbrook to win a championship in his career. Again, like I said before, I expect him to get bounced around from team to team. Kind of like how Shaquille O'Neal was in his later day and age. Now, Russell Westbrook is more athletic and he's more in the end of his peak as of right now. And some can even question that he's out of his peak. You can go there, that's fine with it, but he still plays pretty much the same way as he ever has. But Russell Westbrook right now is still an elite player. He's not efficient, he's not consistent. He doesn't have a high IQ, but besides from that, he's going to get bounced around because he doesn't fit within the new day and age in the NBA to where he can't shoot. He needs the ball in his hands, and he's not a true leader and impact player to make you justify winning enough, going through that hecticness of himself. So that's a bad look. He's going to get bounced around kind of like, again, someone like Dwight Howard. He didn't really fit in with team's chemistry and his demands. He got bounced around. Same thing's going to happen to Russ. Where Russ needs to be, he needs to be a second option on a championship contending team as of right now. Like, for example, and it's not the best fit, but for example, like the Milwaukee Bucks. I know it's not an ideal fit, but somewhere along those range, like the LA Clippers. That somewhat could have worked. But even with those teams I kind of mentioned, it's still kind of, you still kind of scratch your head a little bit. Still kind of cringy. And Russ is in that dangerous territory as of right now.
Agreed. I will say this for Wizards fans, though. I would much rather watch Russell Westbrook lose than John Wall lose. Seriously.
But you know what's happening.
It's a better sideshow to watch Russ get another triple-double. Mm-hmm. And I watched a bunch of it last night because I'm just fascinated watching him play.
Right.
But I am not seeing the same Russell Westbrook that I often saw in Oklahoma City.
Man, he's not that explosive, Skip.
He's not. He is eroding in his explosion. It's not quite the same. And you know what the biggest indicator of that is? So in 4 games, he shot a grand total of 11 free throws. He is not getting to the free throw line the way he used to. He's made 8 of 11, which for him is pretty good at 73%. But look at what's going on from the three-point line. Well, he doesn't try it very much, but he's tried 10 threes and he's made 1 of them. Well, that's a big contributor to the 0-4, right?
And they were terrible from the 3 last night.
Okay, and what is Bradley Beal? What does he do? The numbers look good for Bradley Beal. He's averaging a career-high 32 points. Guess what he is from 3 so far?
Real quick, you need to pair Russell Westbrook with a scoring all-star wing. There's no reason why you need to pair him with a guard. And that's a bad trade as well because with the Houston Rockets, you're pairing James Harden with John Wall. James Harden is pretty much a point guard, but John Wall is going to have the ball in his hands. And then back here, Bradley Beal needs the ball in his hands. He can play off the ball, but with Russ, it's not a good fit. I don't understand why some of these GMs, they don't understand that. I mean, even though Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, they made a conference finals appearance, they're electric together, but at the end of the day, you're not winning a championship like that. You need Damian Lillard to be with a scoring forward. You cannot have him with another guard together. Your two best players cannot play similar. They cannot be a point guard, shooting guard that plays similar like that. That cannot happen, but these teams do it, and that's why I don't expect them to get far at all. So
It's 24%. That won't work. So, again, they got outshot, as you see on your box score, from 3 by an 0-3 Chicago Bulls team, right?
Yep.
And what did they get outscored by 5 3-pointers? So that's 15 points from the three-point line, and they lost by what, 7?
8.
Yep, there you go. So that pretty much sums it up.
And Skip, and the thing is, he plays hard. I mean, you just have. I mean, if he was a football player.
yeah, but Russ has a terrible IQ, and I've stated this throughout the years. Well, I didn't have the channel, but I always knew in my head that Russ goes so hard every night, 110%. As a two-dimensional thinker, you're like, yeah, that's great, amazing, keep doing it, you're doing great. No. Listen, Russell Westbrook has based his whole career on athleticism, not his skill. So he's not pacing himself for the future. He's going to have to call it quits and retire a little bit early. He's going to fall off very quickly one of these years. I'm not going to say it's like Max Kellerman when he says Tom Brady's falling off a cliff, but it's going to go pretty hard when it comes to Russ, and we're seeing it gradually go down as of right now. Russ right now, he needs to slow it down. He needs to understand if he wants to be a point guard like he wants to be, he needs to work and be a traditional point guard like a Ricky Rubio type, like a Chris Paul, and work on his mid-range jumpers like he usually does. He needs to slow the game down, control the pace, control the tempo. He needs to go and work on his three-pointers ASAP. That's all he needs to work on, his three-pointers, his free throws, get his teams involved, and slow down. That's it. That's what he needs to do. He's like that character, the Tasmanian devil from from Looney Tunes. He's going all quick. He has no idea what he's doing. He's going back and forth. And he thinks by going super hard every night, everyone will appreciate it and he's good. No, that's not going to happen. You're going to fall off very quickly, Mr. Russell Westbrook. And that's what annoyed Kevin Durant. That's what annoyed James Harden as well. Even though he plays hard, they appreciate it, but he's a bonehead. He does not have a high IQ for basketball purposes. That's the detriment to Russell Westbrook. And Bradley Beal, even though John Wall is out and they were forced to come with Russell Westbrook, he's going to put on a smile. He's going to put on the act saying that he wants Russ. It's all good. But maybe, at the end of the season for sure, it's going to go bad. During the middle of the season, I would not be shocked at all whatsoever if the Wizards keep on losing and they pull a trade for Russell Westbrook during then. Not going to go that far now. It's only been 5 games.
He's the guy you'd want on your team because you know he's going to give you everything. He's going to show up on time. He's going to be professional. He's going to work his ass off.
Yep.
But his stat, Skip, the triple-double, it just goes to show you how it can be an overrated stat and cannot have any impact because, he had 15 rebounds for a 6'2", 6'3" guard. And he probably, Skip, would I be surprised if he averaged 11, 12 rebounds a game? Nope. If that's a man, Russ going to average, I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay.
But guess what? They're going to finish probably at the bottom of the Eastern Conference.
So they've lost 4 games, not by that many. It's not like they got blown out. They lost by 6 at Philly, and then they had back-to-back home games against Orlando, who's really good. They haven't lost a game.
Yeah.
They're sneaky good.
Markelle Fultz is playing well.
Hey.
He's playing well.
So they lost the Magic at home by 10 and 7, then they lost by 8 to Chicago. So they're not getting wiped out. But in the fourth quarter, they've been outscored by 12 points a game in the fourth quarter. So they're not doing it. He and Bradley Beal are not coming up big in fourth quarters.
Well, you better stop letting 7, 8, 9 guys get in double figures. Well, you ain't going to win very many games with that. If you got Skip, they'll address X amount of guys and everybody scoring double figures except 3.
Yep. So it looks good. Bradley Beal's numbers look good in
Yes.
the box score. Russ's numbers
Yeah.
look great in the box score, and they got 0-4 to show for it.
But it's,
One thing they need to address is